Welcome to the Sensitive Biker podcast, and this is a new episode of Close Up and Personal, and this episode will be about trauma and relationship. Today in the studio I have with me, or clubhouse if you can call it that, I have with me Sophia Broberg, which is my girlfriend and the love of my life, and we're gonna talk about this topic for the next hour or so. Let's see how it goes. But I will, for those who are new listeners, I will tell a little bit about myself and my past, and then Sophia will tell something about herself, and then we will just take it from there, where we met each other and how, and thoughts and feelings about that and everything. So welcome.
Thank you.
And I grew up with stress, violence, and fear in a family where my father was an alcoholic, and a violent one at that. He sold weapons to bikers and skinheads when I was a child. I got my first motorcycle when I was 14. I got also because of drinking when I was 15, the first time. And then I was tortured by 3 adults when I was 16 and left for dead in a barn. And I was a National Socialist, a Nazi, for about 16 years, most of all because I hated myself, but I couldn't live with that, so it was easier just hating everything else, things I didn't understand, and people that were different than me. And that was the short version. And maybe you will tell a little bit about yourself.
Yeah. I'm Sophia, and I grew up with my mom and dad as a single child in Sweden on the west coast. My big interest has always been horses, and I've been competing in show jumping up till the age of 18. And after that I moved to Greece and stayed for 3 years nearly. I'm an alcoholic, and I'm also a codependent person. I've been in a relationship for 25 years with an alcoholic, and my father is an alcoholic. So that's a short version of my life.
So you found a person that was like your dad, drinking a lot?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. Did you realize that when you did it, or it just happened?
When I look back now, I think I realized, but I chose to not to see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you were in Greece for 3 years, you said?
Yeah.
And we talked, you told me this before, of course. It was kind of an escape from you.
Yeah, since I was the single child in my family, the only child, I grew up with a quite controlling mother. She was on to me always when I went out with friends and so on. And I went to Greece with a friend of mine at the age of 16 and a half. And I saw my chance to get away from home, to be in a place where I actually like to be. And so I just burned my return ticket and stayed.
But how did you make a living? How could you stay there with?
I worked as a bartender at that time. Okay. So I had enough money to make my life go around at that time. So okay. And actually my parents, they agreed with this later on, but I knew that my only chance to actually move there was to go there and just stay.
Why Greece?
I've been traveling quite a lot, and I liked Spain a lot before, but first time I arrived to Greece, I felt that it was a place that got into my heart. The nature, the people, everything there. So
okay. So you've been there before the vacation where you eloped?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, But what happened after those 3 years? You went home?
I went
Why?
home.
Why did you suddenly want to go home again after 3 years?
I went home one summer on a vacation, and my parents had divorced at that time, and I caught up with some old friends, and they said it's too bad that you don't live in Sweden anymore, and I kind of got homesick. Yeah, started to miss my old friends, and so I just decided to leave everything there and move back home.
Okay. And what happened then?
I moved into my father's apartment at the beginning because he found a new woman that he lived with. And then I got my own apartment, and I started to work in a computer company. And I was also cleaning at the hospital, so just for survivance. And then I caught up with my friends that I hadn't been with for some years.
How was it living with your father again after 3 years?
That was okay because he wasn't home much. Either he was working or he was with his new woman.
Okay. But where did you meet your ex-husband in all of this?
I had some relationships before that, and I was also single for a couple of years, and then I met him at a pub in my city. He was a friend of a friend, so and he kind of fitted into my life at that time with a lot of partying and
What kind of partying? Alcohol, drugs, or?
Yeah, both of it.
Okay.
I had actually never tried drugs before I met him. I'd been drinking before, but...
So he introduced you to drugs?
Yeah, he introduced me to the cocaine world.
Okay.
And...
was that high-end society or just regular?
High-end society.
Okay. And you had some problems, of course, in your relationship, but you moved. How quickly did you move in together? And you also have a child?
Yeah, we moved in quite quickly. He had a son. He was like 4 or 5. He didn't have much contact with him, but after we moved together, he wanted to have his son, and I was babysitting. So neither the son's father or mother took much care of him. So that job was put in my knee.
Okay.
And the problems began pretty quickly. With what can I say? I was bought. So he had more money than me at that time, and he was pressing me to do these things to take care of his son and to so he could go out with his friends and to go out with the boat, and I was staying home a lot.
And were you drinking at this time as well?
Yeah, I was.
Yeah. And you also had a kid. When was that?
Yeah, I never really wanted to have kids, but I was thinking since he already has a kid, it won't make any difference to have 2 kids. So I got pregnant after 3 or 4 years, I think. And my son is the best thing I have now, but it wasn't easy. During the pregnancy, I was very much alone. And I was alone after I gave birth to him. So my ex kept on his party life while I tried to just be home and be a mother.
How did he treat you outside of not being home too much?
It was mental abuse.
Okay.
Telling me what a worthless person I was, that I never accomplished anything. I would never accomplish anything in the future, and that my place was at home, and every time I tried to break loose, he threatened me, especially with money.
Okay.
And when you're home with a newborn baby, it's not easy to be on your own, and then it just kept on like that. And then we had some okay times, but I knew all along that this is not going to be easy. And I remember the panic I had, that I was thinking that I'm going to sit here now for 18 years with a child before I will get free again. So I find other ways to survive with my friends and their children, and so I kind of created another family.
Also with partying and drinking.
Yeah.
But you were successful. You made your own company at some point.
First I read to become a nurse, and I started to work at a stroke reward. And then I went to a private school in Gothenburg to study to a chiropodist, and that's 12 years ago now, and open up my own business.
You had that business for 10 years now.
Yeah, 10 years. So
you even have someone working with you to keep up with all the customers.
Yeah.
So
it was hard work.
He was wrong, but
yeah.
And this was even when you were together, but yeah.
It was during a period where I had to be a lot of a mom to help my son through school, and with his interest, and at the same time that my ex was drinking a lot, and I tried several times to stop drinking with help from someone I know. So it went a couple of years, and then I tried to drink again, but it ended up really bad every time.
But did you start it in Al-Anon or you started in AA?
I started in AA.
Yeah. When did you came in contact with Al-Anon?
Al-Anon is, I think, 15, 16 years ago.
Okay. What were your thoughts about it then?
I didn't like it from the beginning, because my thinking was that someone else has a drinking problem or a drug problem, and I have to go to a place to learn how to live with that person. So it didn't feel right. So I was angry about it.
So what changed? Why do you go there now from time to time?
When the COVID came, there was an online group in Stockholm, and I think that group and the people there changed my thinking about Al-Anon. They told me from the beginning that you are not here because of someone else, you are here because of you. You have been damaged, and you're here to recover, and you have to work with yourself. So 2.5 years ago, I came to that group, and I have been there 2 times a week since then.
You said you tried several times. Do you want to tell us why? What happened since you say now I'm ready to quit? This is not working.
With my own drinking, you mean?
Yeah.
I've never been drinking. I haven't been an everyday drinker since I've been working. So I drank mostly in the weekend. Sometimes I was just drinking once a month. But every single time that I was drinking, I drank it all at the same time, and bad things happened. I was a very angry person. I got into trouble, and I could drink and drive, and so I woke up the day after, and I almost wanted to end my life a couple of times because of the things that happened to me. So the consequences were huge.
Yeah, I can understand.
And I never understood that I was an alcoholic until this woman told me that it doesn't have anything to do with how often you are drinking. It's when you don't have control over your drinking.
Yeah.
So
I also knew a lot of people that told me that they weren't alcoholics because they were drinking $200 wine. So they compared it with if they were drinking cheap alcohol, because they could afford the expensive one, then they weren't alcoholics. Then they were just enjoying life.
Yeah.
So, but you chose another path in life, but you were still with your husband or your boyfriend.
Yeah. Yeah. I was actually with my son and his friend on a trip, and I got drunk one night and woke up the day after. Someone had me back to the hotel, and I called this woman again, and she said that I'm gonna help you if you're 100% sure that you wanna change your life.
Yeah.
And that's 9 years ago, in a couple of weeks.
Okay.
So that was one of the best decisions that I've made in my life.
Yeah. But you were still with your husband.
Yeah.
And or boyfriend.
Yeah.
And how did that work out?
Yeah, it didn't work out since we're not together anymore. But it wasn't, I can't say that it was harder for me because of his drinking. I could almost say the opposite, because when I saw him drinking with sober eyes, it really got to me what the alcohol does to a person. So I focused on my work, on my son, spent time with my friends, but I worked a lot because that was my place to be, so I could focus on working instead of being home.
Yeah, kind of an escape.
Yeah.
Yeah. A new drug.
Yeah.
Workaholic.
And I was also shopping sometimes when things were really bad. I went out shopping and it felt good for half an hour or so, but the problem was still in the house when I got back. So and then I began to get physically ill. It's almost 3 years ago. I had to go to the doctor because I thought it was something with my heart, but it wasn't. I said it was stress. But I didn't listen to that, so I just kept on working and trying to control an uncontrollable situation.
Yeah. But you told me that you were kind of living separate lives in the end, and you were kind of planning on leaving the country altogether. Would you tell something about that?
Yeah, we have been living separate lives for many years. I've been traveling and doing the fun stuff with my, especially one friend of mine. and my ex were traveling by himself doing other things, so he could spend months away from home, even though we had kids. So I've been both a mom and dad.
For your and his kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then when his first son moved out, it was me and my son left. So, but I did the things that normally a father is supposed to do also. But I'm glad now that I did, because it went well for my son, and it went okay for me too, but it has cost me a little bit of my physical and mental health.
Yeah, of course. But you had plans to leave the country altogether?
No, not altogether. I had a plan. Since I studied and just finished my education as a therapist in KBT and ACT, my plan was to move to Thailand, to start up something there, which is still a part of a plan. So
you even bought a house?
Yeah, I did.
But there was also like Greece. That was a place that you've been before.
Yeah.
Was that with when you were a child, or with your son, or?
No, I've been there as grown up. Yeah. With my son and with friends, and so that island is a place where I feel home.
And that island is?
Koh Lanta.
Yeah. And why that island? Why do we feel home there?
Because I think it's so calm comparing to many other places in Thailand. Small roads, not much nightclubs or anything. It's just small restaurants and nice beaches, and there are a lot of Swedish people, so maybe I feel a little home because of that as well.
They call it Little Sweden, I heard.
Yeah. Because of the 2 Swedish schools that is located on the island.
Yeah. And would you tell a little about where you met me in all of this?
Yeah. I went to a convention in Halmstad on the west coast of Sweden.
An AA convention?
AA convention. And I went there with my sponsor and her husband and a friend of mine from the Al-Anon program.
But you didn't want to go?
I didn't want to go. It was Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and I was, I don't know. But my friend booked a room, and luckily I went.
Yeah.
So it was a great place, great meetings, and then I saw you, I ran into you at the church on Friday evening. And I remember when I looked at you the first time. And that was it.
And your friend noticed something too. She asked you what was wrong. What did you say? What did you tell her?
I said that now, shit, this is going to go to hell.
So everything changed after that.
Yeah. Something happened when I saw you, and then when I heard your speech and your story, which isn't anything like my story. It's a different story, but it was fascinating, and the way you told it, and you seemed so calm, and then on Saturday there was supposed to be a dance in the evening, and I went there, not because I like to dance, but because I was hoping that you were going to be there.
And I saw you sitting there alone at the table in the back end, and I approached you right away. I saw you also at all the meetings I attended. You were there, and you saw me speak, of course. I was wearing my vest, so that didn't frighten you off. I don't know if you even noticed I had it on.
Yeah, I did notice the vest, but I didn't think much about it because I don't know much about motorcycle clubs or anything like that. So I was just thinking that you are here, you're speaking about your sobriety, and yeah, that was enough for me.
Yeah, apparently it was.
Yeah.
But some of your sponsor and your friend had some what do you call it? Not issues, but they were kind of nervous on your behalf.
Yeah, they were maybe a little bit because of the vest, and also because I was very vulnerable at the time and quite new in the program, and so they were looking after me, so I wouldn't get hurt again.
And everybody knows that when you're new in the program, it's not a good idea to get in a relationship. You have to work on yourself first. But when the people is there, they're there, and it's hard not to do it. Because also we have our issues, and I have my issues as well. I'm not perfect. I have many things I have to work through still. I don't know if I'll ever manage it all, but I have been in very many bad relationships. I used to find women that was like I felt my mother was, and she was non-responsive to my feelings when I was a child because she had her own problems and she didn't have the energy or the capacity to give me and my siblings the love and attention we needed because she was struggling with her own trauma and her own issues with my father's, and he's drinking, and her father was drinking too, so in some way she found a husband that was like her father, and I found girlfriends that was mentally not available like my mother. So I just made my worst fears true every time in a relationship because they of course it didn't work because they couldn't give me what I needed in a relationship. So I could sit back afterwards and tell myself that okay, all women are like this. What I knew it wasn't going to work because this and that, and it kind of became this bad circle of just doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a new result, finding the same kind of woman, expecting her to be different than all the other that were the same. And at some point in time I fell across a guy on YouTube actually, Kevin Samuels, and he talks a lot about the black community, but a lot of the things that he said about standing up for yourself and what you want in a relationship and how you go about getting it, because it doesn't, you can demand whatever you want from your partner, but you have to be able to face those demands. If you need your partner to be up here, you need to be up here. You can't just sit down here and say, I want all this, if you cannot be on the same level. And that kind of made sense to me, and listening to all these men and women talking about their fucked up ideas about how they wanted a relationship to be and not being able to bring anything valuable to the table, that kind of made me look at myself and, okay, I need to do this because this is the person I want to be, and I want the person I want to be with to be like this, so I have to match that in some way. And also being able to, just listening to all these people telling about their stories, I was able to put words on what I wanted. It's easy to say what you don't want in a relationship, but what do you actually want? And if you don't know what you want, if you can't tell it with words, then you won't find it. So you're just looking for something you don't know what it is, and there's a big chance that you might even find what you're looking for, but you don't know it's actually what you're looking for, so you will go right past it, or saying, there's something feels wrong in this relationship, so maybe this is not it, and you will go to someone else and later find out that that was actually it. So you're kind of sabotaging what you want by not being able to say and know what you want in a partner and a relationship. And I've been on many dates where women sit down and say, I don't really know what I'm looking for. Then why are you here? You're wasting my time and you're wasting your time. Go home, figure out what it is, and then we can talk, because it's afterwards it was always the same story. I didn't really feel the connection. Of course you didn't feel the connection because you don't know what you want. And that kind of set me on the right path, and actually being able to sit with a woman that was maybe beautiful and beautiful, good looking, sexy, everything, and when she starts talking, and I'll figure out this is not it, I could actually say, I'm sorry, I don't think this is gonna work out for either of us. And I felt good afterwards. It was not like in the old days of I'll just say what I think she wants to hear, and then I can fuck her later, and then I can move on to the next one. I actually stood up for myself. I was honest. I said what I wanted, and then she could get mad or whatever. It didn't matter, because I was honest to myself, and I felt that my self-confidence also grew at that time. And that was actually the time when I met you, and I told you all these things. This is what I want in a partner, and I was actually trying to scare you away, because get everything on the table, my past with the Nazi party and everything, to try to, if you can, I was just thinking in my head, if you can handle this, then we can handle anything. So I just threw everything at you at once, and you just said, okay. And okay, then we can make a try at it. So, and it was kind of funny, actually. And we had some discussions afterwards about that, because you apparently didn't listen to half of what I was saying. You were in your own head. I don't know what you were thinking about. Maybe we shouldn't talk about that here. But usually it's the man that doesn't listen to anything the woman says after they have sex the first time. That's kind of normal, but I guess our roles were reversed.
Mm-hmm.
But and then you also tried to run away the same night, several times, actually. Why did you get scared?
I think I got scared because I felt something inside of me. It was real feelings, and I haven't felt that for a long time, and that scared me.
Okay.
So that's why I left. But after I left, I went back, because I had to see you one more time and to feel that what I think I feel is really true.
And then you wanted to run away again.
Yeah, and then I had to run away again.
Yeah.
So that has been a way of living for me to, to run, to be prepared for everything, or to run away.
Yeah. Way to survive.
Yeah.
Protect yourself and your feelings. But what made you try? What made it different this time that you actually want to try and work it out?
It was just something that said to me that you don't lose this chance. And since you were from another country, and normally I never give my phone number, I don't have an open page on Facebook, and we switch phone numbers. And I was really frightened that if you go home, I might never see you again. So I took the chance of sharing my number. And since you were honest, and it felt true, and you also said to me that you understood my situation, and you said I could call when I felt ready, and that you would wait for me, even though you wouldn't wait forever.
Yeah.
So
and when we had that phone call, you called, we hang up, and you called me about 15 minutes later and said you were on your way.
Yeah.
So forever wasn't that long. No, that was kind of nice. And then you actually moved in. Oh, yeah, we didn't even talk about it. You just moved in. I remember close to Christmas, I was sleeping late, and I came up, and you were already up, running around doing chores, and I came into the bathroom, and then the towels were different. I haven't seen those before. And then I see the shower curtain. Oh, that's new. And there were Santa Claus and elves and everything in the windows, and new pillows in the sofa. And I said, okay, that's different. Yeah. But I didn't mind, actually. I didn't mind. And because, like you said, it felt real, and I felt I could trust you. And I wanted this to be your home as well. So whatever you needed to get that feeling of home for you, I didn't mind it. And everybody can see it. And some of my friends, when they came first time, they was kind of, oh, what's happening here? And then they came to me when you were not looking. Are you okay? What's going on? This is not you. And I just had to say, man, it feels right, and it feels okay, because before I was more like everything has to be in the same places, and I even used a board when I put up my books on the shelf to make sure they are all straight, so everything looks stream-like. But I don't do that anymore. But if there's a book out of place, I still see it, and it annoys me, but I forget about it quick. So, but it was actually pretty good. But it's not always dance on roses, of course, in the start of a new relationship. But we also, especially with our traumas and our past, we bring our ghosts with us wherever we go. And with new relationship, they're always something that reminds of us, that triggers our trauma from the past. And for me, one of the biggest ones were that you were kind of just now finding yourself and figuring out who you were. And that still scares me a lot, because I tried it in other relationships before, and I think that's the trigger. If you say I need to find myself, and then I think about the episodes in the past relationships I have with people who said that, and it always ends out with there not being a space for me in that future they see themselves. That new me person they find does not fit into their current relationship, and that frightened me a lot when you said it the first time. I understand why you have to find yourself, and I understand that you've been pushed down for many years, living with a alcoholic, drug addict who tears you down every time he gets to try and keep you in his place and scare you to not go anywhere, so you cannot live without him. But for me, it triggers those old traumas about not being good enough, also from my childhood with my parents. And no matter what I did, I was never good enough. I could never. My father always told me, you won't amount to anything. You're stupid. You can't do anything. It was the same story all over every day, and kind of stuck in my head. So it's hard when you hear those things, but I tell you when it comes up, and I tell you a lot that this is one of my fears. But I also have other issues, of course, especially when you verbalize some of your fears, and it's something I can't change. It frustrates me, and I get angry, and sometimes I yell and even throw stuff sometimes, because because that's also one of my old patterns. Of course, I get frustrated, and that's not okay, but that's what happens, and that's something I have to work with. That's something we have to figure out, how we figure out our issues and still respect each other in this relationship, and don't tear each other down because there's some things we can't handle emotionally. And you have some issues as well. Let's say fears. You have some fears as well.
Yeah, I do. And this is also from the past, that I trust is something that I have a hard time with. But we have been speaking a lot about it. And I think that sometimes I wasn't used to, I could never speak about my old life in my own relationship, anything like that. And you are a very open person, and I can do the same with you. I can tell you stories about my past. It's just new for me.
And so it frightens you.
Yeah, it does. And then it's like I'm giving you my anger or my jealousy or my fear when you do it, and especially when there are things that already happened that I cannot change, and there comes my jealousy or not being good enough, and this is also because I was broke in the past from being told that I'm not good enough, and I had to accomplish a lot of things to get a place. So it's gonna take a little time, but we speak about it, and I'm glad I work in my program and you work with your issues, and that makes it easier that we can meet somewhere in the middle. We tell each other everything, but I don't want to give you all my burdens. So that's why I speak to other members of Al-Anon or my sponsor, or to try to find out what is my triggers and my fears, and why am I acting like this, and what consequences does it give to our relationship. And before I met you, I had decided to, I always used to say to my friends that when I become single, I'm gonna stay single forever, because it felt good. But you changed that, and
I
now
ruined it. I ruined it. Yeah.
So,
But also when I had a lot of jealousy as I was younger, because I also didn't think I was good enough, and I can still have that sometimes, but when it happens, I don't confront you with it, because I know you're not, it's not your responsibility, and what happens in my mind has nothing to do with you. That is my trauma speaking. When I don't trust you, or if I get nervous about the way you act in a certain situation, it's because of someone else. It has nothing to do with you. And me knowing that and actually doing something about it, calling someone else, talking to them, or just taking a time out and just trying to empty my thoughts or meditate and say, this is my past life, this is my brain trying to help me not get hurt again, but I still have to take a chance. And I can't, if I you are in my present, so if I blame you for what happened in the past, then we can't have any future together. So if I want to have a future with you, I can't blame you for the past, either my past or your past. So I have to work with my demons without you. I have to do that. And I fucked up when I talked with you early, when we talked about in the start, because you're not used to talking with your partner and being honest about everything. So, and I said to you, you need to be totally honest. And every time you got jealous, because it was a feeling you didn't have before, so it kind of made you a little afraid, but also you told me because I told you to tell you, and then I got angry because this is not a constructive thing I can use to anything, because it's not my problem, it's your problem, but you still wanted to tell me because I told you to tell you everything. So it's I understand it's new for you, and actually it's kind of new for me as well, because having relationship where I was open, it's not the same as they being automatically open to me. They say they were, but when the relationship fails, most of the times I found out that they were not actually that honest to begin with. And but I have to trust that you are. I can't blame you for their actions and the way they were, because you're not them. So, but maybe I need to be more clear sometimes about how much is how much. But I think we are at a place now where I said we were in a interview with a newspaper in Sweden a couple of months ago, maybe more, 3 months ago.
Yeah,
it's a long time now, but I think it was 2 or 3 months ago. And I told her that of course we have some issues, but it's like 10%. and the other 90% is perfect, or as close. It's good, as close as perfect as you can expect with two adults with a closet full of monsters and skeletons. But and there was a time not too long ago that I felt that those 10% had become 35, 40, and I didn't like that. But I think that now we are back at 10%. At least that's how I feel. And we discuss things, we are honest with each other, and I try. Sometimes I fail too, because I don't have 100% all the time. I can't be perfect. And there are some videos going around on social media right now that you can't be 100% with your partner all the time. You have to talk together, and if you come to me one day and say I only have 20%, then I have to stand up for it. I can say, oh, I got 80%, so I got you, we are fine. But if one day I only have 20% and you only have 15, then we have to be careful with each other. We have to talk about things more, and not kind of take our distance, but we just have to talk more and be more aware of each other and our feelings. Because if we don't have much energy, it's easy to step on each other's toes, so to speak. And then it's easy to have an argument just like that, because you don't have the energy to sit down and have an important conversation, because you just had a long weekend, or you just had a long day at work with many problems and phone calls and stuff, and that's something that you have. That's something I think that it's very useful to me, actually, that how much energy do you have today? Can I match that energy, or do we have to sit down and talk about it? Or do you need space? Do I need space? And if you need space, then I need to know, is it because of me? And that I think is very important, especially for me with all of my issues, that I need to know what's going on. If you need to be alone for a weekend, or you need to take a drive, that's fine. I just need to know if it has something to do with us, and if it doesn't, that's fine. And if it has, you need to tell me what before you leave. Otherwise, I can't handle that. That will be too much pressure for me. So I think that's important, that you tell people how you feel, and that just today when you left, before I woke up, and I woke up to an empty house and you weren't there, I looked everywhere, and then I saw the car was gone, and my heart is already pumping. No message from you or anything, but you're used to being on your own. You're used to do things yourself in your own pace and your own tempo. So you also have to learn each other. What do you need from me, and what do I need from you? And that's some conversations that we have, but we're still gonna have more of those as time goes by, of course. Yeah.
And I think sometimes because you have been strong for me now in a difficult time, and I guess sometimes I forget that you actually has been very brutally hurt too, or that you have a lot of issues. And it's the small things that, like today, to send a message when I go away, and these things are easy to do for me. So and I can understand your you're feeling. So
But it's also, it's also it's important to have that conversation, because I can do those things for you because that's how I feel is the right way of doing it. But if I don't tell you that that's what I need, then you won't know. And it's easy for me because it's some needs that I need. So it's easy for me to give them to you, but needs that I don't necessarily think important that I have to do for you, that's something I have to think about. Not that I don't want to do it, because I don't want you to be sad, but it's something I have to remember and think about, because I'm not used to it, and it's not needs that I personally need. So it's something I have to give you, and I have to remember to do it. And that's, of course, is the same with you. So just because it's a need I have, and it makes perfectly sense for me, it's not necessarily that it does the same for you. So that's why it's important to talk about it. And I could have yelled at you this morning for not sending a text, but that wouldn't have changed anything. So I just told you how I felt instead, and told you how important this is for me to know where you are when I wake up, because I feel a certain way when I wake up in an empty house. And of course I know it's not your fault. You didn't make me this way, but that's the way I am. So if you want to make me have a pleasant day, there's some things you need to do. And for me, of course, the same, the other way around. If I want to be with you, there are some things I need to do to make life pleasant for you, and to make you trust me, of course, because of all the things you've been together. We all have issues, no matter if it's very bad issues like we have, or just ordinary people that get sad just for getting a parking ticket, or losing their job. Things that it's like nothing for me, but for some people that's a big thing, losing a job or getting a parking ticket. But we're all different, and some things, those people that get sad of getting a parking ticket, they probably have some things that I think is terrible if it happened to me, but they don't think they think it's like me getting a parking ticket. So we all have our different level of what we can handle in different situations. Some people are afraid of scorpions, some people are not. You can't measure that and say that, oh, you had so much worse life than I had. There's no way of measuring pain or how much you can handle. But it's hard to make that distinction sometimes.
Yeah.
But we just have to accept each other. That's, if we want to be together, we have to respect each other and each other's boundaries, but also being aware of what you like, listening to the small things. I know how you like your coffee, how you like your eggs, and those small things. Remember those. I think that tells a lot about a person as well. I know the harder it is, more chili the better. So yeah. And I think that we are almost at an hour.
Yeah.
So I'm going a little out of frame here, but that was a nice conversation, and we'll see how people like it too. Maybe we can do another one someday about another topic.
Yeah.
Or if someone wants to know something more detailed, we'll see what happens. But thank you for listening in, and there will be another close up and personal episode the first of the month, every the first of the month. And please look at the other content on this channel. It's worth it, I think, for a better life and learning to deal with your past traumas and demons. We all need to be better versions of ourselves, and that is also mentally, physically, and on any level. What you from the clothes you wear to what you put in your body or on it. So hope you enjoyed yourself, and remember, don't have a good day, have a great one.